We are not Sports Center. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Debate Amongst Friends. I am the Professor John Gotti. My co-host over here is Doc Leesner, the podcasting beast, and we're ready to provide you with another fun edition of sports news, analysis, and the reads. Yes, Prof, a question. So, what's going on?
Unfortunately, I had a chance to talk to the owner as well as the team president of Business Amongst Friends, and they made the decision to move on from me. I agree with their decision. There's no blood loss with there, and we both decided to go into a different direction. Doc, that was a parody of the Bill O'Brien exit interview conference that he had.
Did that. I feel like you just did that last week.
I didn't, actually.
Like the week before last. Somebody else got fired, and you did almost the exact thing.
But how apropos that I had to do it again.
No, it's pretty terrible. I mean, but let's just be honest. I mean, it probably was a long time coming.
This needed to happen.
He was definitely dancing on Jeff Fisher territory.
I felt like even Jeff Fisher was like, why is he still employed?
Yeah, it was definitely about time. I don't know what the Texans are going to do. Obviously, he was their general manager and their head coach, and that's probably where they went wrong. I never really believed in that, dual role of head coach and general manager.
Mm-hmm.
But this wasn't it. So now they got to find a general manager and a new head coach. I didn't see who they bumped up to be the coach. Did you see that?
Romeo Crennel. Yep.
Which Romeo, I mean, I know that he'll be able to get the team at least. He'll be able to steer the ship while they figure out what they're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if under Romeo they actually perform better because he's such a respected coach. But he's also 73 years old.
And that was the other part.
Yeah, he's also 73 years old.
I mean, this turned into an absolute cluster from, as you mentioned, Bill O'Brien becoming the GM as well as, retaining his duties as a head coach. And then just the moves and those moves just literally turned into memes. I'll give you the Sean Watson for a pack of Skittles kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people were really questionable. It really crippled this franchise because I believe they don't have a first round pick for the next 2 to 3 years, I believe.
Yeah, which is crazy.
But this is.
I mean, okay. I think in football, it's okay not to have a first round pick. It's okay.
But if that first round pick turned into franchise,
it's hit or miss though. Come on.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss. I mean, I don't think he was really drafting that well anyway.
No, of course not.
So it didn't really matter. Some of the players turned out to be very, very well, but if they're not retaining those guys anyway, who cares about your drafting? So
yes,
I would say using the picks that they have, they can still make a pretty solid team. Obviously, if you look at a team like, for example, the New England Patriots, they've never had a pick, above 25, for the last couple of years. So they've turned their picks and made some really, really good players. So
yeah, but that's comparing great, decision making to whatever the heck we want to describe what was happening with the Texans organization, unfortunately.
Well, Bill O'Brien was supposed to be cut from the New England cloth, so that was the whole idea. That was the whole idea. Romeo Crennel cut from New England cloth. I mean, these guys are like cut from that cloth. So it's like, this is what they're supposed to be. That's what they expected. Like they said, look, we're going to get Bill O'Brien. He's been working under, Bill Belichick for all these years. I think that he should be able to come in and do exactly what Bill did. And granted, the Texans had some very successful years. Not like, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl successful, but they had some good defenses. There was times where Deshaun Watson looked amazing, and there was times where everything was clicking. It just so happened that it ain't clicking no more.
Nope. Now, are the Texans looking to rebuild again? Because they looked pretty bad on Sunday.
It's crazy when you think about it. Like, they didn't have to rebuild until they traded their number one receiver away.
Who's putting in work in Arizona, by the way.
Yeah, they traded away the number one receiver. You bring in a running back who's trying to redeem himself. You lose a lot of your defensive linemen.
Yep.
J.J. Watt's been in and out of the fold. It might be time to potentially move on from him because he's getting a little older. You have an offensive line that's subpar at best, and that's coming from a Tampa Bay fan.
Yikes.
And Deshaun Watson, he's running for his life. I feel like that first game of the season was definitely a dumpster fire. Like, against the Chiefs, they really looked terrible. They look like they showed up for a scrimmage. And then it just didn't get any better. So yeah, they definitely have to work. I don't know if it's going to be a complete rebuild, but it's going to seem like a rebuild.
Yes. Well, speaking of rebuilding or the potential to try to rebuild, there's some other coaches that are potentially on the hot seat, Doc. We talked about some of them on the show, off the podcast, and let's go a little bit more in depth with some of these coaches. First off, let's talk about Adam Gase, current head coach of the New York Football Jets.
You want me to say it?
Say it.
You want me to say it?
Say it.
What I said earlier.
Yep.
That this guy should have never been even hired.
He didn't say in the right pitch, but I'll allow it, folks.
He should have never even been hired.
There we go. Now it's good. Okay, let's make sure we do that. Okay.
I mean, let's be honest. He should have never been hired. The guy has not so far his career. All right, he's 30 for 38.
Yep.
Right. What is this? His second year with the Jets? Third year with the Jets?
Second year with the Jets.
Second year with the Jets. So he's 30 and 38. So granted, not a horrible win-loss record. I mean, 30 and 38. It's not horrible, but he's done nothing to show that he deserved to have gotten this job with the Jets.
Yes.
I don't remember who the other candidates are, obviously, who they were before he got the job, but I didn't think he should have gotten this job. And I take that back. I think I said earlier that he was Seattle's offensive coordinator. He was actually the offensive coordinator of the Broncos and then the Bears.
Correct.
And then he became, I think I was thinking of somebody else. Then he became the head coach of the Dolphins.
Yes.
But I didn't believe that he should have gotten this job. I don't know, again, who the other coaching
I don't even remember around that time, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know, what they were thinking, but Gase was not the right choice. Miami, he went 10-6 first season, great. Then he went 6-10, and then he went 7-9. There was no reason to take him after 3 years, right?
Yep.
23 and 25. There was no reason to offer him a second head coaching position with this Jets football team after going 23-25, and then he comes to New York. First season 7-9, which is for the Jets
respectable.
7-9,
respectable.
And we're going against the Patriots. You're going against the Bills. 7-9 is not horrible. Right now they're 0-4.
Yes,
it's time to sound the alarm.
Over under week 6, he gets fired, Doc.
I think they're gonna let him ride this out.
Yikes. Speaking of letting it ride out, let's go to the next head coach. Head coach of the Detroit. And I don't mean basketball. I mean the Lions. Matt Patricia, Doc.
I feel bad for Matt Patricia. I feel bad for him because the first 2 seasons, he really didn't have Matthew Stafford. And, to me, I don't know. I just feel bad for him because I don't know if he'll get the opportunity to actually make this team competitive. But I also don't know. I also don't know because I'm not, in Detroit sports arena. I also don't know his philosophy either. I don't know. It's not like watching the Patriots. I'm not sure what we're seeing in Detroit.
But you don't understand what kind of scheme that they're running for both sides of the ball.
Right. And I just feel like the Bill Belichick disciples get a lot of flack for just being a Bill Belichick disciple.
I could understand that. Do you think he would survive the season?
Yes, I do think he'll be one of the coaches that'll be getting the call on Black Monday or Tuesday or whatever day that is.
Yikes. All right, let's go to the next coach of the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons, Dan Quinn, Doc.
That boy got 1 or 2 more losses in him. That boy right there, man. I mean, wow. Wow, Dan Quinn. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Falcons. I think if there was a coach on this list that should be fired, he is number 2 on that list. After Adam Gase.
Let me see. It depends. Let's see what's on the list. Yeah, I can understand
that. And we'll get to the other 3 on this list in a second, folks. So.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Dan Quinn, I mean, yikes.
He's been in Super Bowl hangover for the past 3 years.
You know what? But honestly, I think it's just the fact that week 1, you lose to the Seahawks. Seahawks are a great team. I think it really comes down to week 2 and 3 where you're winning and then you give up these big leads.
Yes.
And obviously yesterday or Monday for those folks, losing to the Packers is respectable. It's okay. Now, if they lose to the Panthers, then
it's time to light that seed up a little bit more hotter there, Boyle.
Yeah, he might be out of there, buddy. He might be out of there, Boyle. And luckily for them, they don't play the Bucs until later on in the season. Which could be a good or bad thing.
Exactly.
They actually don't play the Bucs or the Saints until later on because they don't play the Saints until November. So,
yes.
I mean, they haven't even played any divisional games and they're already 0-4. So that's pretty rough. And
yeah, that is pretty rough.
They're going to play their first divisional game this week against the Panthers. They'll actually play the Panthers twice before even getting to the Saints. So, yikes indeed.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's keep going, I guess.
All right. The head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Anthony Lynn.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, this is the one I was like, I don't know if he's on the hot seat.
Herbert is really good.
He's very good. He's very good.
I think the difference between him and a lot of the other teams is that I feel like Anthony Lynn still has control of the locker room.
Yes.
And when you look at the scores, the only reason I can see him getting fired is when you look at the scores, and this is something that I said last year about the Bucks. You know, all of the losses are within 7 points.
Yes.
You know, they beat the Bengals 16-13. They lost the Chiefs 23-20.
Respectable.
The Panthers 20. Exactly, huge respect. They lost to the Panthers 21-16. And he lost to the Bucks 31-38. So if he gets fired, it's only because of the close losses. But he's doing a heck of a job. I will say that he's doing a heck of a job. I don't know if I agree with this one.
Yeah.
I think maybe give him a chance with Justin Herbert, and go from there.
I also completely agree with you there. So next coach, Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, Doug Marrone.
I don't know if it's him or I don't know what's going on in Jacksonville. They made a mistake.
I think they're still recovering from all the hoopla the past couple of seasons.
Like,
yes.
I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden they just started like getting rid of people, and I don't know why. You get rid of like pretty much everybody that took them to the playoffs. They got rid of.
Yes.
So right now they're sitting at 1-3. They have a win over the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to the Jaguars, Dolphins. Losing to the Dolphins is pretty terrible.
You mean they lost to the Dolphins?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said lost to the Jaguars. You said lost to the Jaguars. That's why.
I thought I said lost to the. Maybe I was going on to a different. I thought I said lost to the Dolphins, but
no worries.
Lost to the Dolphins, and then they lost to the Bengals.
Yes,
which the Bengals are actually playing pretty well. So
yeah, which I mean, for those who actually want to sit there and watch the game, the Bengals are playing really well with Joe Burrow.
It might be 1-2-1, but
yeah,
I mean, they're playing pretty well
considering. Yeah,
Marvin Lewis-led Bengals.
And that's with them not even utilizing their number one receiver.
Exactly. But so far on this list, I mean, I can definitely understand why he would be on there, but it's not really his fault. I think it's more of whatever they have going on, because it seems like they're doing some type of rebuild that they haven't come out and say, hey, we're rebuilding.
Exactly. I do agree with that. And finally, the Denver Broncos head coach, Vic Fangio.
I think this is another situation where this is not really his fault.
But he might end up being collateral damage.
I don't think so. The only reason I don't think so is because, like, they don't have a quarterback. Like, give the man a quarterback. Like, I mean, they did pretty good the other day versus the Jets, but it's the Jets.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, but he had to go out there with a freaking
third string.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, like, what do you expect here? But even still, to hang with the Titans, only lose by 2. To hang with the Steelers and only lose by 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, the Bucks game was closer than the score says, I think. I thought the Bucks actually stunk it up. And then, obviously, closing out the Jets on that Thursday last week, it was pretty good. Obviously, we'll see how they do against the Patriots, because the Patriots are a little banged up.
Yeah,
which we'll get into later. And then, obviously, the Dolphins. But, yeah, I don't think so. I think they're going to give them a little bit of time, especially this whole quarterback thing is really rough.
Yeah.
It could be, honestly, we could be looking at a situation where nobody gets fired because of COVID. Possibly. It's possible.
Outside of Bill O'Brien?
Yeah. I mean, Bill O'Brien, I think he just had too many issues. And maybe Dan Quinn. But it could be a situation where everybody else kind of gets a pass.
Yikes. Well, folks, we'll be right back with some more Debate Amongst Friends right after this. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to stay on the gridiron. We got games to talk about, Doc. Let's talk about this Titans Steelers. We just got word that the game was actually postponed due to a COVID outbreak, actually. So that game ain't happening.
It stinks because, and I think I was telling somebody earlier that the Titans, because, he was bragging that the Titans were undefeated, and I was like, now they get an asterisk. They might have lost to the Steelers, now they get an asterisk. Now what do we do? You know what I mean?
We never know now.
So it's like now you got all these undefeated team lists, and the Titans and Steelers are both on there, and it's like we know that one of those teams is not supposed to be on there. That stinks. Nope. But postponed, first COVID-related postponement. Of course, we had a whole host of games that were postponed and moved and, pushed around. You have people getting tested everywhere, including quarterback Cam Newton. And that was rough.
It was. That
was rough to watch. I'm sure the Steeler fans were, pretty disappointed that their team didn't play, as well as the Duke's Titans. But for the people that did watch the New England game versus the Chiefs, I'm pretty sure they would have rather the game just been pushed back
instead of having to endure what they had to see.
Oh God! Brian Hoyer got to start versus the power ranking number 1 Kansas City Chiefs. 26-10. Brian Hoyer looked like Brian freaking Hoyer.
You know that Systems clip of watching someone getting beat up, and it pans over to a couple of kids, and one of the kids is like, "That's enough. He's already dead."
Oh God.
That was the Patriots, and that's not hating on the Patriots. This is just what happened.
And I hate it because Jarrett Stidham came in and he tried to do something and wound up throwing 2 picks himself, which I'm just being a casual fan at this point because I didn't watch the rest of that game. But the numbers don't look good. They obviously, I don't know, but Brian Hoyer is definitely not it. I will say this. The Patriots defense played really, really well for most of this game. This game was really close. And this game actually kept me in the fantasy running.
Yes.
Because they held Mahomes down to just 2 touchdowns. They held Clyde Edwards-Helaire to 64 yards, no touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Watkins, they held him down. So, this game kept my hopes alive.
Did you end up winning your fantasy?
Football. No, I wound up losing because of that bad man, Aaron Rodgers.
Speaking of which, though, I don't know if you saw the news on that, but it looks like there was a scare for some COVID outbreaks happening in Green Bay. So it looks like they're going to be barring fans from getting to that stadium out there.
Honestly, when I read it, and again, just being a casual fan, I didn't read the whole article. I just did what most people do, which is read the headline. I took it that they were scared based on, I'm being honest, based on society and the way things are around the world. And I know Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken, was becoming a hotspot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Wisconsin and I believe South Dakota.
Yeah, so I don't blame them for wanting to hold on and just say, hey, let's chill on the fans. And I think we talked about this before the season started, letting them ease their way into allowing fans in, 20, 30% capacity.
Not if you're in Texas and watching them boys.
How much are they allowing? I didn't even look.
This last game on Sunday, attendance was 25,000.
That's a 25 out of 65 or 70,000 or
something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty low still. I mean, it's under 50%. As I say, about 20 to 30%. You know, they're gonna try and push it. You know, I just think it's too risky. I think playing without fans has not been terrible as I thought it would be.
No, it's not as bad, but you know, they also want to try to make sure they get that money as well too.
No, absolutely, but they're still making money from, you know, sponsors and all other crap.
Merchandise sales, like
exactly. Hands off the merchandise.
Yeah, AT&T Stadium capacity is 80,000.
Oh yeah, 20, 30, 25,000. That's pretty good. That's good. Maybe they'll go up to 30,000. Maybe probably cap it at 40 for a little bit. And that's about it. But just keep those little cardboard cutouts of people, and we'll be good to go. But speaking of the Packers, they're ranked number 2 on the NFL Power Rankings. They went against Dan Quinn's Falcons, and let's just say
those birds got clipped.
Yeah, they got packed up and sent back to freaking Atlanta.
Aaron Rodgers pulled a Kevin Durant. He said, "You know me, you know who I am."
Yeah, I know exactly who I am. So
he pulled the Pete Weber. Who do you think you are? I am.
I freaking am. So we got a chance to also watch Jay Ritty's Raiders. You know, the Grinders versus the Buffalo Bills, who playing pretty well.
The Buffalo Bills are mafioso.
Bills Mafia, you know, ranked number 4 on the power rankings. And Josh Allen actually got hurt in the game midway through. Figured he was going to be okay.
Yep.
You know, he's okay. He had a little. It looked like he put a little shock absorber on and came back. He was fine.
Yeah.
But the Bills are 4-0.
4-0.
How do you feel about that?
I think people, when they laughed, because there was a few, you know, analysts when I was actually watching those shows before the start of the season, you know, still kind of said the Patriots can win the division. Like, the Bills are no joke. Josh Allen is that dude, folks. He played absolutely tremendously. He's been playing tremendously this entire year. And one of the things that Doc and I talked about following their playoff loss last season was Josh Allen needed to step it up. Obviously, Josh Allen is a fan of the show, our long-running gag, and he heard what we had to say, and he was showing it.
Honestly, the Patriots still could win the division. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And obviously, bringing in Cam changes the dynamic of the division. Obviously, we know that the Jets aren't trying to win. And the Dolphins, even though Flores wasn't on the list of coaches on the hot seat, I mean, it could easily be him.
Yeah.
He, you know, doesn't get the wins. And right now, obviously, they're running on Fitzpatrick, but you know,
that's only going to last for so long.
Goes. Exactly. But yeah, the Bills 4-0. They played very well against the Gruden Grinders. And hopefully they can turn that around as well, because I know Jay Rich wants to, you know, see a winning product out there.
He'll be asking for John Gruden's job in a little bit if they keep playing the way they played.
Exactly. 2 of the last games here, I wanted to talk about this only because I've realized something, and it didn't dawn on me. And of course, you know, I know I'm just a small town guy, you know, just a small town guy. But I was watching the highlights for the Browns and them boys, the Cowboys, and it dawned on me that since entering the league, I feel like this is all Odell Beckham Jr. plays for. He only plays football now to beat the Cowboys.
I mean, he always put up big numbers against them boys.
Oh my God, he relishes in the moment to play the Cowboys. It's like
ever since the catch that made him a household name, he has dedicated his career to flex his muscles.
Only against the Cowboys.
Only against the Cowboys. I think it's more they finally decided, or they finally had the revelation that, oh crap, we got Odell Beckham Jr. on the team. Let's start giving him the ball.
I don't think so. He just plays better. His routes are crisp. He puts in it's a whole new gear.
Well, I had a chance to watch the first half of the game, and of course, I mentioned before I was getting me some fried chicken, so I started to miss a little bit of the second half. But they were actually getting him the ball earlier on in the game, which compared to the previous 3 weeks wasn't really happening. So maybe it's a one-off. I kind of wish
he wasn't running hard. Like I watched him play against Washington. I watched that whole game, and he was not running hard at all.
Then it's just something about the Cowboys.
Yeah, he just likes beating up on the Cowboys. I just think he relishes in this moment. Oh my God, we got the Cowboys today. My inner giant wants to come out and play.
That's actually pretty hilarious. But speaking of the Cowboys, what's going on with that defense? I mean, we talked about the secondary, and we've heard and read all the rave about that front seven. That front seven look booty.
They did look kind of booty out there, actually. But actually, the whole team is not where I would have thought they would be.
Doc,
the whole team.
What was it that I kept saying about Dak Prescott? And you finally agreed. You was like, okay, I kind of starting to see that now.
I mean, in layman's terms, you said he's really the man, and just he's not going to be the man to win.
Nope.
Which this year, I mean, he's really putting up some big numbers. Huge numbers. They're just not really. They're not turning into wins. But it also, and this is going to be a big issue, because if they don't win, it's going to be a big issue where they might. And you might have mentioned this. I think you did. I'm going to just say you did. They might want to get rid of. They might want to get rid of Zeke.
No, they just got finished paying him.
That's what I'm saying. 12 carries, 54 yards. That's not going to do it there, boyo.
I mean, it's not going to do it if, he's only averaging like 2 yards per carry.
14 carries last week, 34 yards versus the Seahawks. That's not going to do it there, boyo.
Well, I mean, also, too, they can't really run the ball if Seattle's scoring so fast, too. I mean, that kind of...
Versus the Falcons, 22 carries, 89 yards there, boyo.
Well, we know what happened with that Falcons game, though. We know what happened in that game.
Rams game, 22 carries, 96 yards. That's getting close, but that is not going to do it there, boyo.
It's not going to do it at all, and I agree. I don't think the Cowboys know what kind of team they want to be. And this is the same song and dance with them. They don't know I don't think they know if they want to be a power team. They don't know if they want to be a passing team. They don't even know if they actually want to play defense.
McCarthy is historically, he's a passing guy. He's not really a running guy. That's why Aaron Rodgers probably liked him so much. That's why, it worked, because they were passing heavy, and it was all good. Obviously, they don't have, the clapper anymore. They don't have, that offensive system anymore where they're running a lot of zone. So in all honesty, this whole offensive group might not work anymore. Like, their offensive line might not work. Because I saw Dak get sacked one play, and I was like, this is supposed to be like the best offensive line of football at one point.
Yeah, that was years ago.
They're not moving the people. Like, they still got pretty solid players, but they're still not moving people because they're running different plays. It's so different.
Yes.
But them boys, man, they gotta turn around 1-3. That's not gonna cut it. In Jerry's world, that's not gonna cut it. Jerry Jones and J5.
Shout out to J5.
Shout out to J5. I know they mad, them boys.
Yeah, they're pretty salty.
1-3. Who would have thought?
Like so much salt that people had to consult their general physician because of sodium level intakes.
It's pretty shame, hypertension and all that. But the last game, which I know you were dying to talk about, those Tampa Bay.
We're not gonna. No, we're not.
They're doing.
We're not.
Tampa Bay.
We're not doing that.
Go Chargers. Go.
Well, like no Chargers. No.
So, yeah, this game was such a
emotional roller coaster for you.
No, I was actually perfectly fine the whole game. Again, you received my text out of unison.
Yes.
So if you'd have looked at my text when I sent it, then it would have been all good.
Once again, in my defense, I was getting fried chicken.
At least you got fried chicken, folks. But Justin Herbert, they put, shout out to Anthony Lynn and the staff. They put together a great game plan. Obviously they had to shift from the game plan because Austin Eckler got hurt early in the game, which I kind of forgot all about that. We could have definitely used that as maybe a final thought, but that's quite all right. But we tore him up. It was pretty terrible. And their running game pretty much didn't recover. Actually, Justin Herbert wound up having the most yards, 5 carries at 14 yards. But shout out to freaking Keenan Allen. He had 8 catches for 62 yards. Nothing huge. Some of the other people beat us for touchdowns. Keenan kind of did a lot of the dirty work.
Yep.
And made some really incredible grabs.
I love how so many people don't include Keenan Allen when it comes to like top 10 receivers in the league.
I think they do top 10. Top 5 is tough though.
Yeah.
He's usually in top 10, but top 5 is pretty tough. And especially when on the other side, and this is huge. On the other side, you got Mike Evans, who even on I want to say partially probably sprained ankle or twisted ankle, he had 7 catches for 122 yards.
Yeah.
So it was pretty impressive to see what happened. So if you didn't watch the game, you just saw the highlights. You seen, Tampa Bay went down 24-7 for the first half, or no, 24-14.
14, yep.
We saw it into the half. And then you seen Tom Brady say, yeah, I threw that pick six earlier. You want to see something? Watch it.
That's actually exactly what happened.
It's almost like, it was like, oh my God, like we're watching this and like, I'm like, okay, like he's really throwing this ball. Like he threw this ball 40 yards down the field on a dime.
Yep.
Just to your favorite, Scotty Miller. And then he threw another pass to O.J. Howard.
Yep.
And then actually, finally, he threw one to Gronk that actually connected for 29 yards.
I saw what you did there.
Like, oh my God, I hated it. But I expect either Gronk or I guess Cam Brate, somebody's got to take these catches because O.J. Howard's out for the year, which was a final thought, but I just realized that I have another one, so it's fine. So Cam Brate or Rob Gronkowski gonna step up, but Tom Brady though, he really played really, really well out there.
He literally said, "Do you know who I am?"
Who do you think you are? I am. I told you I'd come back.
Okay, for the record, if Tom Brady actually says that post game, I'm losing my mind laughing.
No, definitely. But speaking of poor defensive play, I didn't think, and I said this before the game, the defensive backs for Tampa Bay aren't experienced. And I wrote this on the Tampa Bay post. Some people were talking about the defense and everything. Now, granted, holding Keenan Allen, under 100 yards to me is huge. Week 1, we hold one of the best receivers in the game, quote unquote. Michael Thomas, three catches, 17 yards.
Yep.
And then
who's currently still out too.
Right. We've been putting people out. I mean, we put out Mike Thomas, we put out Christian McCaffrey, and then we went out. So you see, we putting people out. But it's like we're holding the main receivers down, but it's the supporting receivers that are getting the big catches. So I mean, our defensive backs are young, so it's crazy.
They'll get better,
and that's what I keep telling people. But you think about it, the front seven. You have Levante David, you have Ndamukong Suh, you got JPP.
Yep.
So you got that veteran presence on the front seven. The back, there's nobody that's played over 3 to 4 years. So they're all kind of just learning together on the fly. Like there's no veteran. So it would have been great if we would have signed somebody if he was actually like a mentor type, and Eric, we talked about this earlier.
Eric Berry?
Either Eric Berry or Earl Thomas. If Earl Thomas could come in and actually chill out for a little bit.
And that's not happening. And I don't think you want Earl Thomas on your roster at all.
Honestly, I would have loved to have Eric Berry. I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten picked up, but
I thought he retired. Though he officially retired.
I didn't think so. But you could be right. You could be right. I actually have no idea. It just says that he's a free agent. I know in Madden he's a free agent, and I just go with that. But yeah, the game was pretty good. Tampa's currently.
Oh, he's taking an intentional sabbatical.
Makes sense. Tampa's ranked number 8 in the power ranking, and the Chargers go. Chargers go.
No Chargers. No.
Wow, are currently ranked at number 18. So Tampa Bay cracking the top 10. I think they were 10 last week.
Yep.
Moving up to 8, 3-1, number 1 in the division. Looking good. The only team that we didn't mention in the power rankings is the Baltimore Ravens. And they had their win against that Washington team.
That Washington team. Yes, and a quick recap, the top 5 are at number 5, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, the Green Bay Packers. And number 1, the reigning, defending, undisputed National Football League world champions, Kansas City Chiefs.
And you can make the argument that the Seahawks would be number 5.
Yes.
I'm not sure why they decided to move the Steelers. I guess they moved the Steelers down from 4. But I don't know why they didn't move the Seahawks up and just leave
the Steelers outside of it. I can agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, but I mean, that's NFL.com. Boy, that boy.
Yeah. But Doc, if you had to give your top 5 after week 4, who would be in your top 5? Dead or alive? And that's off of 1 LP.
It would be pretty much the same. I think I probably would move the Ravens down underneath the Bills. Actually, I probably would move the Ravens down to number 5.
Yep.
Until we see what happens with the Steelers and Titans. I think where Tampa is good. Where the Rams is okay. I probably, I think the way they have it is pretty good. So it probably would be Chiefs, Packers, Bills, and then it would be Seahawks, Ravens.
I actually would completely agree with you. I would probably put Seahawks at number 3 though.
What are them boys?
I think I would put Seahawks number 3. I feel like they're not getting as much respect. I mean, they put them at number 6 on this list. I don't think they're getting as much respect. I mean, and it's probably more because of the defense, but, like you said about your Bucks, they'll get better. Plus, they have people that's injured as well, too. Like, I think they could be number 3 easily.
I kind of just want to quietly make the playoffs for Tampa, honestly. I mean, I'm be honest with you. It would be nice to just quietly, make the playoffs. Just tap it in.
I mean, right now you're in the driver's seat for your division, so just gotta keep it up.
We could just tap it in.
And it's quietly, like before the season, everyone's talking about the Buccaneers. Now, just little peeps.
Hey, yeah, Tom Brady threw 5 touchdowns. Oh yeah, that's great. Keep it moving. Just tap it in.
Just a little tap. Just a little tap.
Just tappity tap tap.
And with that, folks, we'll be right back with the 2-minute drill right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of every show, we like to do what's called the 2-minute drill, where we go over stories and headlines that we didn't get a chance to cover during the show. This week, the money was thrown in the bag as cornerback for the Ravens, Marlon Humphrey, agrees to a 5-year extension with the Ravens, $98 million, 5-year deal, including $40 million guaranteed. Prof?
Thank you, Doc. St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Gibson lost his fight with pancreatic cancer at the age of 84. Back to you, Doc.
Also here in the NFL, Nick Chubb, Browns running back, is expected to miss roughly 6 weeks with an MCL sprain. Prof?
Cleveland rocks. Unfortunately, the Cleveland Indians are now 72 years without a World Series ring. Back to you, Doc.
And that is all we have for today's show. Be sure to tune in next week as we will continue covering the NBA Finals. Should be over by the time this show comes out next week. We're going to talk about it, whether the King does kingly things or whether the Heat turns up the heat on him. We're going to go ahead and see it. But be sure to tune in next week for more news, more reads, and more debate.
Shout out to Breonna Stewart.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Debate Amongst Friends. Give us a follow on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You can also listen to all of our Debate Amongst Friends podcasts here on Anchor, as well as Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iTunes.
And like we always say, goodbye, mwah, and to all, a good night. LASG.